The Rockin' Dogs podcast starts right now.
What's up, people?
How y'all doing?
Doing good. How are y'all doing tonight?
Making it slow but sure.
You still got Snow up there?
I'm here. I thought I was going to get sick this week. The wife was sick, and I got sniffles a little bit, but I feel better today. So, hey, today's
good.
show, big controversy.
Mm-hmm.
Big controversies on leash handling. What type of leash should I get? What kind of collar should I get? This guy said my dog needs a prong collar. This guy says my dog needs a chain collar with, oh, but that's a choke chain. It'll choke your dog. So we're going to clarify all that crap tonight. Me, and believe it or not, folks, recently all I've been training on is a nylon collar you hang your dog tags on. And again, I don't care what kind of collar you use. That's the kind right there, Brian. I'll train the dog with that collar right there.
Yep.
It's all about the what, folks? Timing. Timing is everything. Okay. I'm going to clarify a couple things. They say, well, that puts too much pressure on your dog's neck and you shouldn't do that and you're going to hurt your dog. Every single correction you give your dog when it comes down to handling a leash will apply pressure, whether it's a split second. If it's a prong, it's a little bit more pressure. Depending what dog training technique you're going to use. I'm going to leave this up to my two other trainers I got here tonight. Margaret can start it off, what she primarily uses on service dogs, and then we'll turn it over to Brian, and I'm just going to shut my mouth, and I'll have something to say afterwards. Because you know I always do.
Yes, sir.
Have at it, guys.
Hey, well, it's just like with obedience with service dogs. I will use a variety of different collars, and I will start out with, usually I'll start out with a Martindale, which is this right here. It's a flat collar and a training collar, kind of like a hybrid, if you want to say. And the reason these work pretty well is that they give the sound of a training collar. But some people freak out when you put a training collar on their dog. Now, what is it we said in the military? It's not the equipment, it's the equipment operator.
There you go.
And this, you put it on like a P. The goal is to keep it loose all the time. But people have this vision of their dog that. So the Martindale doesn't work, I'll go to the chain collar. And if the chain collar doesn't work, I'll go up to, oh no, she did not say it, the prong collar. Yes. Now, guys, I want to challenge you to something. If you're ever at a pet store and you have this fear of these, put them on your arm. It's not, drawing blood. I'm not screaming. I'm not dying,
Oh, no, you're bleeding everywhere.
Uh-oh.
Actually, real quick, while Margaret was doing that snapping, just showing that it's not hurting, you never snap a prong collar. It's
No,
always pressure.
right. Yes, I always say I have to totally change how the people use their leash once they go to a prong collar. You want to do more of a pull rather than a snap. So you'll change your whole technique when you change up. So, there's even different kinds of martingales, and Brian's going to go over different, the metal buckles and everything, because these are really solid. This is from Active Dogs. Go to activedogs.com. They have a lot of good stuff on there. And,
That's one of the
and it
best.
is a martingale. It's just for a big dog. So they have good stuff. So whatever collar you use, you really have to ask your trainer, how do I use this? What's the proper way of using this? Do not leave, especially the training collar or the prong collar. Do not leave it on when you're not home, when the dog is sleeping. Accidents can happen. I've seen dogs, both of them in the same house, wearing these, and they got caught on each other somehow. Owners were home. Don't let them sleep with the prong collar on. Don't let them sleep. They can sleep with their flat collar. Brian's got a flat collar that he's going to show us, with one that everybody puts their tags on and everything. That's fine. Another thing I do when I'm training with a specialty collar is I will take the flat collar off, because it may impede. Yes, sir. It may impede the other collar's effectiveness. So, do your research. Also with leashes, we have nylon leashes made out of, this nylon to this collar. We have leashes that are made out of this material. I've been using some faux leather leash. It's leather that's not real leather, but it won't crack like real leather. And you can wash your dog, like put your foot on it. It can get wet while you're washing your dog, anything, and it will not crack. It's a very well made stuff. So you can look up, faux leather. So I like using 6 foot, mainly 6 foot leashes. I do get the handle leashes sometimes if I need them to work inside the house, or a child needs a really short leash. There's the handle ones. But back to the original question, with service dogs, I use the same collars that
Okay.
everybody else does with obedience, and I work my way up. I don't ever try to say, oh, bam, that dog needs this collar, that dog needs that collar. I'll think about it, but I'll try from the beginning to see. Sometimes you get surprised.
All right, Brian.
Out of all my years of experience, I've learned that you don't ever trust a plastic buckle. These plastic buckles will snap and bust, and your dog will be off running down the street chasing the mailman or whatever he was after before. Luckily, it won't get bit by another dog. So finding one that has a metal buckle, kind of like a belt, we were talking about this on one of our previous shows, these just aren't as likely to fail. Dog can pull up against this and it's solid, it's strong, it's not going to bust apart. One of the giant no-nos, hey, get that wrist breaker out of here. You want to talk about not ergonomically correct? You should not ever carry a retractable leash. These leashes are not only dangerous for your dog, but they are also dangerous for you. I have piles of them that I have taken away from my customers because you've got to have the proper training equipment to train your dog. Like Margaret said, I prefer a 6 foot leather leash. This is double stitched, double braided. 180-pound Rottweiler. I'm not worried about that dog snapping my leash or snapping my collar. I've seen regular chain collars break before. The welds will snap and those collars will fall apart. So like Bob said, using a flat collar is typically the safest and easiest way to go.
Yep.
Another thing I want to touch on real quickly. A lot of these people will get these lunge line leashes that have the give into them. You are never going to give a properly timed correction to a dog on a lunge line.
Hmm.
Hey Brian,
Bob?
have you been running into the people that want to get the round leashes? The
Huh.
one look like rope? There
Yes.
you go.
You are not allowed to use a corded leash either. I will
Yeah,
take
yeah.
that
Brian.
away and it will go into the no-no pile.
Unless you're leading the horse around, those work good.
Hey, that's great for a horse.
Yeah, exactly. What else you got, Brian?
Um, let's talk about harnesses. You know what harnesses are good for? Harnesses are good to secure your dog in your seat in the car. Maybe once your dog's been trained, it can walk around on a harness and look all cute and pretty, but this is not a training device. If you want to train your dog, you've got to have control of that dog's head. If you can't control the
Mhm.
head, you're not ever going to get control of the body.
One thing
What
I'd
do?
like, one thing I want to add to that.
Yeah.
I will use harnesses, but they're specially made harnesses when I teach a tracking dog
Right, right. Or
with
for
an
protection.
agitation protection work. But it's got the big breastplate on my protection harnesses, and they're usually padded so it
Yeah.
doesn't hurt the dog and it doesn't restrict the dog's movement.
Hmm.
But I do use harnesses even with little puppies, teaching them to track. I'll put that little harness on him. It doesn't restrict them from pulling, a lot more comfortable, and let that little bugger go.
Not for
Yep.
obedience training.
Not for
No.
obedience. No,
And
no,
that's
no.
the what Bob said. He wants the dog to pull. He wants the dog to kind of lunge ahead and "Rrr," and bark, that kind of thing. He wants the dog to pull ahead to go after that scent, to track. And
And that's
so
what
what I always ask people when they pull out, their dog comes out and they pull out the harness, and I'm like, answer me one question. They're like, what? And I'm like, what do sled dogs wear? And the
Harnesses were
harness.
they come
I'm like,
up
get rid of it.
years upon year. Back in the ancient, dogs were working animals. They
pull apart.
pulled carts. They
Mm-hmm.
pulled log, lumber, whatever. That's why they designed them.
Yep.
Do not use them for obedience training, folks, or walking your dog down the street. It does, it promotes pulling because
Encourage.
they have, and everybody says, well, when I put him on a collar and he's pulling, he's choking himself. And I tell all my clients, if it really bothered him, would he be doing it?
Nope.
Nope.
Yep.
You know, so
Yeah. I have something else to add about the prong collar.
Yeah.
Okay. In service dog work, I'm going to get a client that doesn't have much strength.
Right.
Okay. And I don't breed dogs to be a service dog. I will get a phone call and we will go out and, from whoever I've worked with before, and I'm on my own now, I will evaluate your personal dog, okay, to be a service dog. And if I have someone like a child up in Michigan who doesn't have much strength at all, and he has a standard poodle, and I put not this size prong, but a smaller one. And
Right.
that way it kind of works with him because then he doesn't have to, you know, pull hard and he's just walking through the store. The dog kind of corrects himself. Okay.
again, just like what Margaret's saying, and I do the same thing. I deal with a lot of elderly people that are handicapped, whether it be shoulder problems, lower back problems, even hip problems, where they can't move fast. Um, I will always go to a prong because it's so much easier. But there's a time and a place
Yeah,
for every type of collar.
A
exactly.
good trainer will be able to tell you what kind of collar you need, what kind of equipment you need.
Yeah.
Definitely. Um, as far as pressure, I talked about it just a little bit. No matter what collar you use, there's a certain amount of pressure. even like the training, we call them training collars. Um, you call them choke chains or chain collars. Those are constantly loose if you put them on properly. If you do not know how to properly put one on, do not put one on your dog,
Correct.
because even though you give that quick correction, it will stay tight. There's a right way and a wrong way to use that collar. There's a right
Exactly.
way and a wrong way to use a prong collar.
Yes.
There's a right way, and even if you get one of them halty things that go around, there's a right way and a wrong way to use one of those too.
Correct.
Yes.
You
So
break dogs now.
it's just like certain saws do certain things. Certain collars you use different ways also. It's no different. These are training tools. As far as the pressure that I was talking about, a prong collar, it's going to have a little bit more pressure on the dog's neck than, let's say, a flat collar. I like training a flat collar. I don't know why. I can train on a martingale or flat, but the reason I train on a martingale or flat, because I read the dog and my timing is 99.9% right on the head. The dog will never have a tight leash when I'm handling it. Um, it's reading the dog properly. I wouldn't go out and get a prong collar right off the bat um, if you don't know what you're doing. Some dogs, it's too much. You don't want to put first time you get a collar on a dog, you're going to put a prong collar on it. You will freak that dog out if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh yeah.
The same thing with a puppy with a leash, like Brian had different kind of leashes there. You can get a little tiny puppy leash, the small little nylon or leather, whatever, but don't try to drag your puppy around with it. He's going to learn to hate it. Let him drag it around the house. Follow him around the house. Just hold on to the handle. Let
Get
him get used to it.
Hmm.
But people out there that I've seen, I mean, a lot of they see the leash and man, they're panicking. I had one person, the lady put the leash on the dog and it was backing up and peeing all over.
Uh,
And it's
yikes.
just and then there's, well, my dog won't walk with me. No, you're freaking him out, and
I have
that
a
makes our job harder.
it's
quick
supposed
question.
to be enjoyable.
If a trainer comes to your house and they come in your house and you have a puppy and they say, put your collar and leash away. This is all I use. What do you tell that customer?
Get the hell out of my house.
Yep.
I mean, what do you tell the customer to tell the trainer?
Yep.
Yeah.
Leave.
Yep.
I show up at someone's house if I don't know that dog. I show up with a Martindale, a collar. They probably have a flat collar. So I was just thinking about that, Bob, when you were talking about the puppy, and I'm like, I've met trainers. You've met trainers before. They're like, I only use these collars and that's it. And da 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 da.
Yeah. I think I mentioned one show. I went to a lady's house to do an evaluation. I don't want to say the name of the company. They're in the Cleveland area. The only way the guy trains is with prong collars. He
Wow.
walked in and put a prong collar on 11 or 12-week old puppy. That puppy
Wow.
freaked out.
Yeah.
And he said, well, that's the way I train. This is the proper way to train a dog.
Go train
Needless to
elsewhere.
say, she threw him out of the house.
Good
You
job.
know,
Good for her.
Yeah.
yeah. I
There's
mean,
plenty of other people out there that will help you do it the right way.
yep, yep.
No reason in freaking your dog out.
I'm training a young lady's dog right now. Um, she's got a crazy pitty, little chocolate colored pitty. And if she's watching tonight, she's probably smiling right now because she knows I'm talking about her. But this dog is a little freaky. She rescued it. Definitely under socialized, but she loves her dog to death. And everything's got to be pink on this dog, pink collar and pink. And but
That's awesome.
the thing is we started that dog on the regular flat collar. It even had the dog tags on the collar. I wanted to get the dog used to working commands. And since the dog was so freaky and so afraid, I mean, hair come up on its back when it seen me and bah, 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 and I could tell it was all fear. And I didn't want to stress the dog out even more by
Mhm.
taking the leash. So I was instructing her, and this girl did well. She's still doing a fantastic job with this dog. But then I noticed the dog. I was reading the dog, and she makes a couple mistakes, but she catches on real quick. And I went to a martingale with the chain top, like Margaret showed. And of course, she had to order it pink, the same. But the thing is, it worked. Now everybody says, "What a pit bull! Oh my God! You got to put a prong collar. You need a chain." No, you don't. As long as a good trainer will teach timing and how to handle the dog and read the dog properly, that's all you need. And that's all I got to say about it. There's so many trainers out there blowing smoke.
There's the
Ju-
puppy size.
Please. Yeah, little puppy martingales too. Yep.
Very
It just
thin.
won't collapse all the way. That's what I really like about a martin.
Yeah, they stop there and then that's it. They can't suffocate your dog or anything. So I
And
still don't
again,
like these on all the time,
No.
but
but it's
it's
just like
safer.
a regular collar,
Like,
except you
yeah,
can get
that's
that little, and
without the chain.
it's tight and release real fast.
It's like that
Yeah.
mom's mouth in a way.
Yeah,
Kind of
it
clean.
just quick and release. You
Yeah.
know, so I hope you guys learned something tonight about different kind of equipment. As far as Brian, you want to add a little bit as far as a martingale, not a martingale, but a a prong collar, maybe a proper way to use it, just so everybody knows. And yeah, I'm gonna knock them. Do not use a prong collar that's bought at certain pet supply stores. I've seen them break. There, I haven't had any luck with American made collars. I'm not going to give the name of the good collar, but they're made overseas. They're the best collar made. The
I like those
the
too. I know what you're
prongs
talking
are
about.
perfect, but
Yeah.
I'm not going to say what they are because I don't want 30,000 people going out ordering them. Say, well, this is
Yeah.
what Uncle Bob said to get, and no, I'm not going to say it.
And see, you
So,
could take
Contact us and we'll tell you maybe.
this apart and then take the links off. You can see how the links will come out.
Right.
And Brian will tell you more about the prong collar.
Go ahead, Brian. Real quick. You got about 30 seconds.
so with the prong collar, you have to be very careful that you're not using it just like you would with any other leash and collar. You can't rip and yank on a prong collar. A prong collar is meant to be used for an aggressive dog or for a disabled person who has trouble applying that amount of pressure or the speed for the correction. You want to make sure that you're doing things safely and that you are benefiting your dog and not hurting your dog. These prong collars can be dangerous if they're not used correctly.
They also, I want to add to that, um, they don't fit on the dog's neck like a regular collar on the lower part of the neck. It
Right.
should be about 2 inches below the jawline and fit snugly, not to just so it doesn't slide down. It goes right up underneath the dog's
Hmm.
jawline here, not way up high, about two
Yeah.
inches down.
You don't want it tight, but you don't want it like here either. You want it like
You don't want it to
just
slide.
right there.
You
I'm gonna.
want it to be able to stay snug,
Yeah.
almost like you guys probably don't use them. I deal with a lot of aggressive dogs. Um, where I use a dominant dog collar. Now, a lot
Right.
of people don't know what a dominant dog collar is, but there's also a right and a wrong way to use one of those. But
Hmm.
those dogs are like a little piece of, oh gosh, like this almost, a little bit wider, made out of like a poly cord, and it fits directly underneath the dog's jawline and behind his ears. Those collars have to fit precise. So when there's a free ring on it, you hook one clip to a free ring, the other ring goes to your leash. And when you give that pull, there's only about that much play
Yeah.
in that ring. I mean, it's got to be right now. Best thing to use when you're dealing with a highly aggressive dog.
Well, even these, like if these come in even inches,
Right.
18, 16, 20, 22. If your dog's neck, say, is you measure them and they're 13 inches,
Not down
you're
here.
not going to use the 14, you're going to use the 16. So the most you will have is 3 inches leeway.
And the
You don't
best,
want to get one that's going to be like 6 inches too long.
What do we
No.
call those, Bob? Those
Talk
are
to your
rockers.
trainer.
the thing is, when a lot of people, they measure their dog's neck. Do not
Mhm.
measure your dog's neck for a training collar.
Take it
I measure from the top of the head under the jawline. If it's 20 inches, I buy a 22.
Yeah. And I'll tell them to take them to the store.
That's the way to
Because if
do it.
it's
A
a pet
lot of
store,
people
yeah.
just measure those chains around the neck, or they
And
got
sometimes the
a
head could
dog.
be bigger.
They get a dog with a 16-inch neck, and they buy a 24-inch collar. Well, this one here will fit them. Yeah,
Yeah.
well,
No.
come on, people. All
Talk to
right,
a trainer.
that's all I got tonight.
I'm going to say one more thing.
Okay.
This is a smaller size service dog vest. I don't like those big flappy ones. And I just want, it does have the plastic, but we're not using this
For
to put a
restraint.
leash on. They have little rings on here that you can attach things. Like we're going to attach a little holder that has his ID card in it. Yes, this is here. And it's this way. This is towards the dog's butts this way. Do not attach a leash on this. Just, these are not made. These are not harnesses. This is a vest.
Right.
So
It's a
don't
jacket, basically. Yeah.
don't do it. Yeah, Jethro sees me, has his service dog vest out, the one I have in training, and he's all excited now. He thinks he's going out to work.
All right, folks. I hope you enjoyed it tonight. Remember, like, share, subscribe.
Please subscribe.
There are a lot of other shows on things that we touched on. Even if you go to my Facebook page, Family Dog Training, just click on the guy with the cowboy hat. That's me. You'll see a video of a harness on a dog, what I was talking about on a German Shepherd I'm doing some protection work with. But you'll see there's no restriction at all. That's why you use a harness. So until next week, I hope you all learned something tonight. And if you have any questions, please write to us. And that is at rockingdogs11@gmail.com.
Yep.
You see my website page coming across. Margaret's is on there. Brian's is on there. Any questions for any of us? Write. Talk to y'all later. See you
Comment
next week.
below. Tell us what we need to put on more. Let
Yeah.
us know.
Have a good
All
night.
right. Have
Take
a good
care, guys.
Valentine's Day.
Oh yeah, happy
Valentine's
Val.
Day.
I got my wife a big bouquet of flowers. She's happy.
Oh, you're so sweet.
Yeah.
Brian, what'd you do?
I babysitted the kids.
Oh, there you go.
Good job.
Money's
Awesome.
tight around here.
All right. You guys have a good one.
You too. Good night.
See you later.